Christmas is supposed to be about warmth, about giving. Last Christmas, I gave away my dinner to a stranger. It was a small thing. I didn't know that act of kindness would be the reason I'd be alive to see this new year. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let me know where you're listening from in the comments. My name is Noelle. I'm 28 years old. I've always believed in hard work, and last year it finally paid off. Right before the holidays, I got the promotion of a lifetime at the marketing firm. I was made senior director, which meant I was now the boss of my entire department. This included my brother, Liam, and his wife, Chloe. We were family, and I thought we were a team. The day I got the news, Chloe hugged me so tight at the office. She threw a little lunch to celebrate. "I'm so proud of you, sis. No one deserves it more," she gushed. I believed her. Why wouldn't I? A few days later, it was Christmas. The city was empty and quiet, covered in a cold, gray blanket. As I walked to my apartment with a bag of groceries for a solo dinner, I saw him. The old man who always sat by the bank entrance near my office. He was there even on Christmas Day, wrapped in a thin blanket. Everyone called him Old Ben. I always saw him, but that day I really saw him. I stopped. I walked over. "Merry Christmas," I said, and I handed him the whole bag, the roasted chicken, the mashed potatoes, the pie, and the new wool gloves I'd just bought for myself. His eyes, a pale, watery blue, widened. He didn't just take it. He held the bag like it was something fragile, sacred. "Thank you, miss," he whispered, his voice rough. "God bless you." I smiled and went home, warmed from the inside. It felt like the true spirit of the season. New Year's Eve came a week later. Work was buzzing with party plans, but I was tired. I just wanted to get home, order takeout, and watch the ball drop on TV. As I approached my apartment building that evening, a figure stepped out from the shadows near the alley. I jumped. It was Old Ben. But he looked different. Terrified. His eyes were wide, darting around. "Miss," he said, his voice urgent. He reached out but didn't touch me. "Please, don't go in there tonight." I was confused. "What? Don't go in my building? Why?" He shook his head, struggling for words. I can't explain right. It's a feeling. A bad one. Dark. I heard things, whispers near the back stair yesterday. About fire. About making sure someone was home." He looked directly at me, his gaze piercing. "Please. Just for tonight. Sleep somewhere else." My logical mind said he was just a lonely, confused old man. But the fear in his eyes was real. It chilled me to my bone. It was New Year's Eve. What did I have to lose? "Okay," I heard myself say. "Okay, I'll get a hotel." The relief that washed over his face was immense. He nodded quickly and melted back into the shadows. I stood there for a full minute, my heart pounding. Then I turned around, walked to the nearest nice hotel, and booked a room. I felt silly. I ordered room service and tried to relax. As midnight approached, I stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. I could see the glow of my neighborhood in the distance. Then I saw a different glow. A pulsing red and orange light. And then, the distant sound of sirens. Not just one or two. A chorus of them, screaming in the direction of my apartment. My blood ran cold. I grabbed my phone, my hands shaking. I pulled up the local newsfeed. There it was, a breaking news banner. Major fire, multiple alarms, on Avenue B. That was my street. The video showed flames shooting out of a fourth-floor window. My window. The reporter's voice was tense. "Firefighters are battling a fierce blaze in this upscale apartment building. Early reports indicate a possible explosion. We have no word on casualties." I sank to the floor, the phone dropping from my hand. The room spun. Old Ben's warning echoed in my head. Whispers about fire. About making sure someone was home. It wasn't an accident. Someone had set that fire. Someone had wanted to make sure I was in that apartment when it burned. They wanted me dead. And the only reason I wasn't was because of a Christmas dinner and a pair of gloves I'd given to a stranger. In the cold light of New Year's Day, my life was ashes. I sat in a stark, temporary apartment provided by my insurance, wrapped in a blanket that didn't belong to me. The smell of smoke was still in my hair. The police had been clear, it was arson. A chemical accelerant poured through my mail slot. A sophisticated, vicious trap. The target was undeniable. Me. My family rushed over, my parents, my brother Liam, his wife Chloe. They hugged me, cried, said it was a miracle. Chloe held my face, her eyes red. We could have lost you. Thank God you weren't home. But why weren't you home? Her question was wrapped in so much concern. I didn't mention old Ben. A deep, new instinct told me to keep that card close. I just said I'd felt impulsive, wanted a hotel treat. They called me lucky. But as they fussed, I watched. I watched Chloe's face. The concern seemed perfect. Too perfect. And I remembered her glittering smile at my promotion lunch. A cold thread of doubt began to weave through my shock. My first real move was to find him. I went back to the bank steps. He wasn't there. Panic gripped me. What if they'd seen him warn me? I finally found him at a different doorway, looking more ragged, more scared. When he saw me, he startled like a wild animal. Come with me, I said, not asking. I took him to a simple diner. Over hot soup, his story spilled out in pieces. His name wasn't Ben. It was Elias. He'd been a structural engineer. He lost his family in a car crash years ago, fell into a grief he never climbed out of, and ended up on the streets. I know how things are built, he said quietly. And I know how they're made to fall. I heard those men by your dumpster. They knew about wiring, about flashpoints. It was professional. He'd tried to tell a cop once, years ago, about something else he'd seen. No one listened. But you saw me as a person on Christmas. You gave me dignity with those gloves. I had to try. I believed him. I got him a room at a safe, clean budget motel for a week. You saved my life, Elias. Now let me help you be safe. With him secure, I began my own quiet war. I hired a private investigator, a woman named Mira, with my own savings. I told her everything: the promotion, the family dynamics, the fire, Elias's warning. I need to know who hates me enough to burn me alive, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. Mira worked in shadows. At the office, I acted normal but watched. Chloe was always there with a coffee, a sympathetic touch. The company is giving you paid leave, of course. Just focus on healing. But her kindness felt like a performance now, every word a carefully placed prop. A week later, Mira called me to her office. Her face was serious. Your sister-in-law and brother are in deep financial trouble, she said, showing me documents. Secret loans, a failed investment property. They're leveraged to the brink. Your promotion, Noel, came with a significant salary increase and a bonus pool you control. According to the old office hierarchy, that position was widely expected to go to Chloe. The pieces clicked with a sickening sound. Chloe needed that money. My success wasn't a celebration for her, it was a disaster. It blocked her only escape route. Then Mira showed me more. Screenshots from a hidden, anonymous social media profile. Rants about a spoiled bitch who stole what was mine. The language was vile, unhinged. The profile was carefully hidden, but Mira traced a digital fingerprint to Chloe's laptop. The final piece was a credit card statement. Liam's card. A purchase for a large quantity of a specific industrial-grade cleaner from a hardware store 2 days before the fire. The receipt was timestamped. Mira had a chemist's report. That cleaner, when combined with a common aerosol, could create a highly flammable vapor. It's circumstantial, but it's a roadmap, Mira said. They had motive, they had the technical knowledge or access to it, and they purchased a potential tool. I left her office, the city spinning around me. The betrayal wasn't just business. It was intimate. It was family wanting me erased for a paycheck. I didn't go to the police. Not yet. I needed her to say it. I needed to look in the eyes of the woman who ate salad with me and planned to burn me alive. I set a meeting in a quiet, soundproof conference room at the office after hours. I told Chloe and Liam I needed their help with the insurance paperwork. When they walked in, smiling, I didn't smile back. I placed the credit card statement on the table. Then the social media printouts. The color drained from Chloe's face. Liam's mouth fell open. What is this? He stammered. It's the story of why my apartment burned down, I said, my voice cold and flat. You were drowning. I was your life raft. And you decided to sink me instead. Chloe's mask didn't just crack, it exploded. You think you earned that promotion? She hissed, her beautiful face twisting into something ugly. You were just the boss's pet. That money was my way out. You were in the way. It should have been me. She was screaming now, confirming every suspicion, every recorded word. Liam tried to shush her, horror dawning on his face, but it was too late. The truth was out, and my phone in my pocket had captured all of it. I had my confession. Now, I had to make sure they could never hurt anyone ever again. Holding a confession is one thing. Making sure it sticks is another. I walked out of that conference room with my phone burning a hole in my pocket. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt a deep, cold sadness. My own brother had sat silent while his wife admitted to trying to kill me. Family was just a word they used when it was convenient. I went straight to the police with Mira, my investigator. We gave them everything: the recording, the financial records, the credit card receipt, the chemist's report. We handed them the roadmap to the crime. The detective listened, his face growing more serious by the minute. This is premeditated attempted murder, he said. The words sounded both terrifying and right. The next part was a public storm. At the office, Chloe and Liam were called into the CEO's glass-walled conference room. I watched from my new office, the one that started all this. I saw the CEO's angry gestures. I saw security appear at the door. Within the hour, they were both escorted out of the building with empty boxes. Their keycards disabled, their emails shut off. The news of their firing for gross misconduct and fraud spread through the company like wildfire. The legal hammer fell fast. They were arrested at their home. The local news showed the footage: Chloe in her expensive sweater, her head down, being led into a police car. Liam followed, looking broken. They were charged with attempted murder, arson, and conspiracy. The evidence was too strong. My brother tried to plead that he was just following his wife, but the law didn't care. He had bought the tools. He had stayed silent. While they sat in jail awaiting trial, I focused on the good. I found a proper apartment for Elias. I took him shopping for clothes that fit. I connected him with a doctor to help with years of neglected health. The most important thing was reconnecting him with his past. With Myra's help, we found his daughter, Sarah, who had been searching for him for years. The day they reunited in a quiet park, him clean-shaven in a new shirt, her weeping with joy, was the day I felt my own heart begin to heal. I hadn't just saved a life, I had helped return one. The court case was final. Chloe, as the mastermind, was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Liam, for his part, got 12. The judge called it a betrayal of the deepest trust. As they were led away, I felt no joy, only a heavy closure. The revenge wasn't about celebrating their pain. It was about ensuring they could never do this to anyone else. It was about restoring balance. With the insurance money and a portion of my own savings, I started Elias's Second Chance, a foundation that helps homeless people get identification, medical care, and family reunification services. I run it with Elias, now going by Elliot, and his daughter. We've already helped 17 people find their way off the streets and back to their loved ones. My revenge was never about hate. It was about correcting a wrong so profound that it shook my world. I used their own greed and evil to lock them away, and I used the life I saved to build something beautiful. The kindness I gave on Christmas came back to save my life on New Year's. And the life I saved helped me build a new purpose. So here is my advice, from the deepest part of my story. Never underestimate a small act of kindness. You never know when the person you see as invisible is actually your guardian angel in disguise. And to anyone planning betrayal, remember this: the good you bury in the ground has a way of growing. But the evil you plant will always grow thorns that choke you first. Thank you for listening to my story of fire, forgiveness, and a fresh start. If this reminded you that light can come from the darkest places, please hit the like button and subscribe for more stories where justice finds its way home.